Hello users, and welcome back to Above It All. This is the series in which I talk about how I, Andrea, am above you, the viewer. I'm just better than you. In the capitalist hierarchy that has nothing to do with money because I'm poor. Reminder to give me money on Patreon. I would be higher than you. If we lived in a meritocracy, I would be higher than you, but we live in capitalism, so I'm lower than you. So what you should do is you should just give me all of your money and also support this bill by Rashida Tlaib. So she posted a really good bill. Now again, there's so much shit here, and Pelosi is a right-wing psychopath, so there's a lot of shit to go through here, but this bill is very important. So I'm just going to try to read this. In response to the coronavirus crisis, the Automatic Boost to Communities Act would immediately provide a U.S. debit card preloaded with $2,000 to every person in America. Each card would be recharged with $1,000 monthly until 1 year after the end of the coronavirus crisis. I wonder where the Yang Gang is going to be on this one. I wonder where the Yang Gang is going to be on this one. We all know the Yang Gang, the Andrew Yang squad, the cult that is obsessive not about UBI. They don't like UBI. They don't give a shit about UBI. They don't give a shit about poor people. They just give a shit about, like, oh, Andrew Yang, look at his old pin. I wonder what they're going to say about this. I'll keep posted. If you see any good takes, let me know. But this is important because it's not $2,000 at once. It's not $1,000 at once. It's not $1,000 for a few months. It's $1,000 until a year after the end of the pandemic. So the pandemic could technically end. The CDC and the WHO said that it could end anywhere from, 6 to 18 months, depending on how things go. So that would mean adding an extra 12 months of a UBI on top, right? On top of wherever the pandemic ends, which is incredible. And this would be for every person. And this is where I get nervous because, of course, a lot of these things are going to be taken apart by the right-wing psychopathic DNC people. Dependents. So a couple with 2 children would receive 4x $2,000. So if you're a child, you still get the money. Non-citizens, including undocumented people, permanent residents, and temporary visitors whose stay exceeds 3 months. We're now in a situation where if you did need to go home, you can't go home. It's just impossible. Not everyone had the money to book a flight before the travel ban, so there's going to be a lot of people that were, say, maybe on a vacation or visiting family that aren't going to be able to go back to Germany or France or whatever. So those people need the money. So that's important. And then, of course, you have undocumented people, which is, of course, you need to give them money. They're probably the most vulnerable group of people right now. Now that we're heading into what potentially could be a military occupation into a lot of these major cities and towns. Undocumented people. There's also this clip going around of ICE raids going on during the pandemic where people's guards are down. Well, rather, maybe their guard is up, but their guard isn't up to that specific thing. Like, oh, there's a pandemic going on. I didn't know the goon squad would come and steal my children. So that's super important. Individuals who do not have a bank account, social security number, or permanent address. Homeless people. Absolutely. This is one of the major things that a UBI could help them with, is getting a home in this instance, especially if this is combined with a moratorium on evictions and rent. That would be incredible. People living in unincorporated territories or protectorates. I've never seen that word before. Protectorates. Protectorates. Oh, I see. Okay. My bad. Like I said before, I'm partially dyslexic. Reading is hard for me. Which is why I don't read on camera too much. But yeah, so basically, if you don't live in a state, if you live, say, in DC, this would affect you as well. But if you live in any of the territories, and there's lots of people that live in these territories that aren't set up with, they're not U.S. citizens, they're U.S. nationals, for example. So this is super important. To ensure that this program is as universal and comprehensive as possible, the U.S. Treasury will develop its list of eligible individuals in coordination with the Internal Revenue Service, the Social Security Administration, the Federal Election Commission, and every other relevant federal, state, and local government agency, including state-level departments of motor vehicles, DMVs, not to be confused with the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Now that I've lived in that area, every time I see DMV, I don't think of the motor vehicle place. But anyway, super important. Distributing the money, this will be on debit cards, and they can be mailed, they can be picked up, and all that kind of stuff. I'll skim over this part, and that's the cool part. But the funding is the interesting thing. So, I wasn't really politically around back during the Obama administration, during the 2010, 2011 era. I was like a wee child playing video games. And I remember seeing these stories about the almighty $1 trillion coin that a bunch of deficit hawks were freaking out about. And Rashida Tlaib's bill is calling for the $1 trillion coin. The Treasury Secretary would direct the U.S. Mint to issue 2 $1 trillion platinum coins under the legal authority provided by whatever the fuck. That would be awesome. Could you imagine holding the $1 trillion coin? Oof. I know. That would be great. But yeah, this is full MMT, and this is something I've done a lot of research into, modern monetary theory. The idea that the debt and the deficit don't really mean anything because a lot of the debt that we owe is to ourselves, and we control the world currency. So the debt and the deficit don't really mean anything, especially visible during the Trump administration when he's exploded the debt and the deficit by astronomical numbers. And he's a Republican. What happened to the small government Republicans? Where's Rand Paul? Rand Paul will go after anything that hurts poor people, but corporate tax cuts, no, that's great. So this is awesome. This is super cool. And definitely keep following this bill and how the House is going to respond to this stuff. Now, again, this will definitely not pass as is. It should, right? It should. We have Nancy Pelosi, who is a far-right, neo-fascist fucking garbage fucking shit fucker. She is a disgusting scumbag. Reminder, if you live in her district, to vote for Shahid Buttar. But she is so fucking bad. And again, I do want to make more videos about Nancy Pelosi because she is a ghoul. She is a disgusting fuck. And then also getting through the Republican-held Senate, it's going to be a tough one. But here's the thing. Trump needs to pull off something great in order to get reelected. And especially now that you've got right-wing Democrats, and I say that again, Democrats, a lot of people think Democrat is nominally on the left somewhere. Democratic and Republican Congress people at this point in time, generic congressional Democrats are probably to the right of a lot of generic congressional Republicans. We are living in a fascist state. This has to be, this is 1000% needs to be understood. So, one of Trump's easiest ways to swim toward re-election is by outflanking the neoliberal garbage Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer wing of the Democratic Party, outflanking them to the left. And this bill, right? This bill is a perfect way to do that. If Donald Trump were to strong-arm everyone in the Senate to passing this bill, even if there's a few things that are taken out, he would probably win re-election. It's just, if he instituted a UBI that lasted upwards of 2 years, if not more, that would be an easy re-election. At that point, we might as well just officially Joe Biden should just concede. Now, again, Bernie Sanders, still in the race. We need him. If we want to beat Donald Trump, especially if Donald Trump takes the populist angle to get reelected, we need Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden ain't going to do it. But you already know my opinion on that. If not, go watch the other videos I've made. But this is incredible. This is really good stuff. And you definitely have got to keep up with Rashida Tlaib and how this bill goes. Again, chances of it getting passed in this form, very low, because you have psychopaths running both the House and the Senate. But Donald Trump, in his own best interest and self-interest and wanting to, basically just get reelected, that is definitely a factor in this. So we are in a completely new world right now. We will not be going back to the old world. And I want to, this has to be understood. We will never go back to 2019 and how the world was done. This pandemic will forever change the American society, and I've been doing a lot of, research and reading some opinion pieces about that, and I'll probably get into that more as this goes on. But we are in a new world right now, and we need to very quickly adjust to this new world. Where we are right now, this is the primordial soup for the fall of an empire. And it's up to that empire to see if they can hold on. In this bill, right? This bill is one of or a bill like this, or this is what we need in order for the empire to not fall and crumble. Because one way or another, if they fail us, you bet your ass they won't be around to fail us again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you ain't gonna fool me again. That's all I'm saying.